Welcome back to All Things Rangers this week. We have a lot to cover in our show. I am Mark Williams, your trusted host, and I am joined by the future interim coach of the New York Rangers, Mr. John Filkowski.
I have no words.
Fresh off his victory lap, here's Mr. Anthony LaRocco from the Off the Post podcast.
Should have started Gorgiev.
We're doing our bar talk segment, where we're going to gauge all of our confidence in a bunch of topics by what we're going to be drinking. Do we need a shot? Do we need a beer? Or we're going to buy everybody around. And
you know who you could use around after last night?
All of us.
I
think when we do this next week, I'm gonna have a shot glass and a beer next to me, and each one I'll actually take one as we do.
Nice. All right. Yeah. All right. See, it's for a guy that drinks more than anybody here, or both of them combined, I can't do it. It's too early in the day unless I'm golfing. But all right, here we go, guys. Our first one. Did David Quinn make the right decisions this past week with the lines and in net? I got to go with Mr. Filkowski to answer this one first.
double facepalm when the power of one facepalm is simply not enough. Yeah. So, no, he did not make the right decisions in net. No, he has continued to not make the right decisions in lines. And I'll elaborate. I'll gladly elaborate for everybody. So, you have Igor Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev. We've established that there's a 1 and a 2. Igor is obviously the number 1. Alexander Georgiev is obviously the number 2. But your number 2 has stellar numbers against a team called the New York Islanders. We've pointed them out in earlier segments, but I'll say them again just for the hell of it. 7-2 lifetime record with a .944 save percentage and a .170 goals against. In certain cases, or to kind of bring it to a baseball equivalent, it's like the Yankees when Pedro Martinez, when the chance used to be at Pedro, who's your daddy? Yeah, Alexander Georgiev has their number, to say the least. So, no, David Quinn in the middle of a playoff push, I don't know what galaxy brain line of thought was behind this, but decided to play Igor instead of Alexander Georgiev, who has the great numbers. Not that any of the goals were Igor's fault. They weren't. If you want to blame one squeaker on him, okay, but, I mean, he was kind of really hung out to drive ice defense the entire game. But, yeah, no. Igor wasn't at fault for any of the goals, but Georgiev should have started. And the lines, why do we have Vitali Kravtsov playing on the 4th line with Kevin Rooney and Mr. I Belong in the AHL, Brett Howden? Like, what? Why? Can anybody explain that to me? I mean, Colin Blackwell is Mr. Unsustainable Shooting Percentage man, if there was ever a Marvel hero named for him. Is, shooting still over 20% somehow. And he gets put on the second power play unit over our number 1 overall draft pick, who would actually be a much better fit there because, 1, he has an incredible shot, and 2, he's actually a damn good playmaker, but that hasn't changed yet. Or, hey, there's this other guy, this Russian guy named Vitali Kravtsov you could really just put on power play too, because, that kind of helps. But no, they don't make the right decisions. The power play decisions are awful. It's why they've been on, a bottom 10 team in the NHL all year on the power play, despite Adam Fox being one of the best power play producers in the league. And no, David Quinn has not made the right decisions. Sorry for the long ramble, but David Quinn has gotten me to the point where I want to start drinking at like 10:30 in the morning in the middle of the week. So yeah. No, David Quinn has not made the right decisions. David Quinn could go take a hike for all I care.
So that's a shot.
Yeah, to say the least.
Okay.
I wish it was vodka.
Anthony.
Oh, I mean, John pretty much said it perfectly for me, but yeah, shot. Not even a hesitation on anything else. Shot. I'm not going to get into the the numbers again. We've stated it so many times now. I think my wife probably knows Georgiev's save percentage against the Islanders at this point. But I mean, listen, he has success against the Islanders. Play him. I mean, you're in the middle of a playoff push. Play him. Shesterkin, although small sample size, he's now 0-3-1 against the Islanders lifetime. And after that 6-goal performance, his save percentage against them isn't looking pretty. So, there's no reason not to start Georgiev. It's not like they were coming off a back-to-back. He had just played. He's fresh. Start him. He has success against the team. Start him. It's like Barry Trotz, before the Islanders played Philly, Sorokin was 4-0-1 against the Flyers. His save percentage was like .931 against them. His goals against average, it was like 168. Now forget about it. After the shutout, they're even more video game-like against the Flyers. But the point is, a competent coach, Barry Trotz, did he start Semyon Varlarmov? No. He started Ilya Sorokin. So why David Quinn did not start Georgiev is just mind-numbingly dumb to me. And yes, I get Shesterkin's your number one. He's your future, but not last night. Last night, Georgiev should have been the guy. Hopefully he learns his lesson for at least you guys' sake. When the Islanders play the Rangers next week, if Georgiev is not in goal, I think someone should march down to Quinn's offices in MSG and put like a banana cream pie in his face, like cartoonish. I don't know. I would say worse, but I wasn't going to go there. But you get the point. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say other than he's not a good coach.
This is what I will say. It's amazing what a difference a day makes. This was going to be a beer. I didn't agree with certain things, like playing Anthony Potato versus the Devils. So he doubled down on 19. And that was actually, he doubled down on 22. I'll be more accurate. I was using a real blackjack term instead of, the jersey number. So you double down with Anthony Potato back in there. He looks enormously bad. I was going to give him credit for moving Kreider down in the lineup, moving Kravtsov up, changing around some roles, and then we're right back to where we were. And then I'm the only thing I'm not going to kill him for is playing Shesterkin over Georgiev. You got to go with the number one. But it's just always a decision every single game. There doesn't seem to be any strategy to what he's doing.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
Did you see Quinn's quote from last night?
I was watching the post game, but
so they basically asked him about lineup changes concerning, Potato, the defense, and everything like that. And that's something I haven't really even thought about yet.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
For brains?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, moving on. The New York Rangers' fate was sealed last night by the New York Islanders. Anthony, go ahead and take this one. I believe it's called a victory lap.
I'm gonna, I'm not gonna go round only because the Rangers do play the Bruins still, but it's pretty close to being around. So I'll go with a beer. I think the fact that the Bruins play the Sabres on Thursday and Friday is not good for you guys at all. However, Pittsburgh just lost to Buffalo. Maybe Buffalo pulls one out for you. In miracle, they win both, but I don't think that's happening. But the fact is, I think the Rangers are going to take care of Philly in this back-to-back on Thursday and Friday. It really all comes down to how much Buffalo can help you guys out. As I said earlier, I think at the very least you need to keep pace with the Bruins. But more realistically, I think you really need Buffalo to take at least one. That would bring the deficit down to 4 points instead of 6, which 4 is doable, but overall it doesn't look good. I'll say there's greater chance than not that they do miss the playoffs, but I don't think it's nail in the coffin yet. It's close though.
John.
I'm just going to start off by saying that I have a better chance of getting with a supermodel than the Rangers have of getting to the playoffs at this point. At least I could get her drunk enough to think that I'm funny and that I have other redeeming values. in other ways because this Ranger team does not have a chance in the playoffs anymore. It's done. It's over with. You wanted to have some sort of chance. Last night they needed a win because Boston won. Boston has 4 games left against Buffalo. Those are like the 4 games the Rangers played against the Devils. Yeah. And this Boston team actually shows up with urgency. What did they need to do against the Islanders? They needed to make a statement. What did they do in those 2 games? They, made the Islanders look silly in the first one, and then they played a tight game, and they beat the Islanders with a 3rd-string goalie. And guess what? Tuukka Rask is back. And guess what? Taylor Hall is scoring like many thought he would after we were traded to the Bruins. So now you have a team that, even though, you could say that they have defensive struggles, I still think they're a deeper defense on paper than many want to give them credit for. But Taylor Hall is playing well. Curtis Lazar fits on their 4th line and has actually been playing very well. I believe he has a goal or 2 for them already, if I'm correct. So Curtis Lazar has actually been a pretty good addition for them. I didn't see that coming. And Rask is back. So now they have their number 1 goaltender back. The ship is being righted. They play with urgency. They have a good coach behind the bench. They have a veteran leadership group. They have all the things that you need and all the things that you would expect from a team that's only 2 seasons removed from a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. So, Boston is scary, and they're playing well. They're not going to do what the Rangers did. They're going to beat Buffalo, and the Rangers have just lost it. Even the 2 games at that point don't even matter because the Rangers would need to be within striking distance, and they're not going to be within striking distance because Boston's not going to keep losing games like that. So, I'm going to say that if all my water bottles at home were filled with vodka, I'd give them to everybody because I'm buying everybody a damn round.
Unfortunately, I have to use the words, that's why they play the games. There's 10 games remaining. The Rangers basically got to go 8-2 in order to have any shot. And they have 2 more games against the Islanders. The Flyers are basically on their level. I understand we've buried the Flyers before, but this is done. It's done. I'm buying everybody around 2. It's over. Don't worry, we will still be covering it because we still love this team, and it's just it sucks. It really does. If they actually beat the Islanders last night, and the Islanders lost 2 games against the Capitals, and the Rangers beat the Flyers 2 games, there was more of a chance they could catch the Islanders than the Bruins. Unfortunately, that would have been great, especially to put on this podcast. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. That definitely isn't going to happen. And you could just say, 2 points is 2 points. Barry Trotz knows how to coach this team to cruise control. They're making the playoffs now. I think last night sealed their fate. They're in the playoffs. Last night was bad. And you know what? We're waiting on the Jacob Trouba news, and it's going to get even worse. So I got to buy everybody. They're out of the playoffs now. Here's a little bit of controversy from Thursday night. It was classless of LIndy Ruff to challenge and take away Vitali Kravtsov's first NHL goal. John, go ahead.
In one sense, they're down in a game 4-0. Their playoff hopes are not there. They've already pretty much been all but mathematically eliminated. They're not making the playoffs. I don't get why you would want to challenge it, but if you look at it from their perspective, if he doesn't challenge that, then what type of message is he sending to his players as a coach? Like if David Quinn did that, if it was the Rangers and it was like, I don't know, that Studenic's guy for his first goal, and the Rangers didn't, and David Quinn didn't challenge it, every Ranger fan would be in a damn uproar over it. We all know it. So you can't send that type of message as a coach, and that's the problem with that's the problem with this scenario. It's just you do that, you let that go, it just sends a terrible message to the players. It just says, I've given up, so why should you guys come out and play?
So I'm assuming that was a shot, FIlk?
Yeah, that's I would say it's a shot.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I forgot to clarify that.
I asked that because now I can say I agree with FIlk. It's a shot. It's a shot for me. The Devils are done. They have nothing to play for. But the minute you let that go, that essentially shows you're not even trying anymore. You're throwing in the towel, and again, it just sends a bad message overall. Tough break for Kravtsov, but he had to do it. I know everyone in the building knew they were not winning that game, but again, at that point, it shows really you're just not trying to win. And for a young Devils team, that's a poor message. So, yeah, shot all the way for me.
We're going to get the hat trick because it's a shot for me as well. As much as I think, you're down 4-0, you're not scoring 4 goals in the next 10 minutes, don't do that. On the other hand, I got to point to the Devils themselves. Saturday, the Devils came back to make it 4-3 and put some pressure on the Rangers. Sunday, they came all the way back from a 3-0 deficit. And last night, they were down 6-0 to the Pittsburgh Penguins and lost 7-6. Every goal matters. Every goal matters, just like baseball. Every out matters. So you gotta take it because you don't know if it's gonna come back. I mean, what if the team gets sparked? It sucks. It was this kid's first NHL goal. He got it later on in the week. It was a dress rehearsal. You can look at it like that, but it's definitely not fitting the word classless.
No.
All right.
Two last things with that. One, I don't know if either of you saw Kravtsov's comment on it, but Colin Stevenson of Newsday asked him in the Zoom presser, how was it to score his first NHL goal? And he goes, "You mean my second NHL goal?" And out of that, so Vitali Kravtsov is apparently, he's in good spirits and he's a good sport about things. His English is actually pretty good, by the way, for someone who's still learning. And the other part would be, I would say that maybe, considering that 3 games in a row that they've done it now, maybe that was the spark that got them to come back in those 3 games.
Well, that they did kind of wait until they were down 3-0 in order to come back. So I wouldn't exactly say that was the spark the second time around. Or if they were down 4-0 in the first game. Ryan Lindgren is quietly having a very good season.
Yeah, I would say he's having a good season. I think he played his worst game as a Ranger last night. Just some uncharacteristically bad plays, including getting walked by Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson's a good player, but Brock Nelson is not really good enough to be doing that to someone like Ryan Lindgren. He just looked like he was all out of whack, trying to throw hits. He was doing things that, kind of reminded me of, Darius Kasparaitis when Kasparaitis was on tilt, if you want to use a poker term. And it wasn't a good game for him, but overall, he's having a very good season. I know a lot of people will say, well, Adam Fox is carrying him. It's actually not. It's not really carrying him. Ryan Lindgren is actually a very good defenseman. Ryan Lindgren would probably be a number 2 on most, or actually, I'm sorry, a second pair defenseman on most teams. Probably a number 3 or 4, probably more towards a number 4 since he's not really offensively inclined. But Ryan Lindgren is actually a very good defender, and because of fit, he plays well with Adam Fox, and he's on the top pair, and he's been on the top pair for a year and change now with Adam Fox. So Ryan Lindgren so far is quietly having a very good career with the Rangers, not even just a season. So that's been the Rick Nash trade from 2018 at the deadline has been nothing but a steal for them. So thanks, Ryan Lindgren. Yeah,
I'm going to jump in first, Anthony, because that Rick Nash trade is a total winner for the New York Rangers. He's having a great season so far. Now, you were talking about Ryan Lindgren being a good defenseman, John, but he's driving that top pair as much as Adam Fox is. He's the reason why Fox could take more chances, why Fox makes great reads, possibly to add on top of Fox's own ability. I think about him in the same vein as what Bukaboom was to Leach in a way. Not exactly. I'm just saying in a way. That's just it. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I get it. And I do agree with that.
Yeah. So he's having a really good season. And again, yes, they won that trade because I believe the pick they got from the Bruins
was used to
they moved up to draft Keandre Miller with that pick. So how about that for a hell of a deal? Anthony, jump on in.
It's a round for me. I think he's having a good year. I think he's a good. Honestly, he reminds me of a much more all-around, like Rich Pilon, like a much more polished player. He's physical. He's tough in the corners. He throws the body. He skates well, and he's just a solid defenseman. He's getting walked by Nelson aside. That doesn't matter. He's positionally sound. And again, he plays a heavy game, and I think he complements Fox well. And for someone who doesn't have like much offensive skill, I think he does. He's 15 points on the season. So, no credit to him. I think he is absolutely quality having a great season. So definitely around.
Well, keep that in mind because we're going to be bringing up Ryan Lindgren's name again in a moment. Mika Zibabanejad deserves a humongous deal. John, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Why you have to be mad? It's only game. Why you give big deal to guy struggled at the beginning of year? I mean, all Ilya Bryzgalov impressions aside, I don't know if I give him the big deal right now. I'm going to say beer, but I'm kind of leaning towards beer in a shot because the way that he started this season was bad. And you know what? Honestly, if it wasn't for his outburst against Philly, his numbers really don't look that great overall in the season. I mean, he's played better since, but I'd be very hesitant about giving him a huge deal. And you know what? With the flat cap for the next few years, I don't think he's going to get the money that some people thought he was going to be getting before this season. You know what? A lot of people, myself included, thought that he'd be bordering between 9 and 10. I think he might end up between 7 and 8 at this point because it just the flat cap screwed Alex Pietrangelo, and that was a guy that deserved $10 million plus on the open market, especially if Erik Karlsson got that. So if Alex Pietrangelo is going to get 8.8, then I can't see Mika Zibabanejad getting $9 million. I can't see it. I really can't. He's had 2 really good years. This year was, it's good. It's not great. It's somewhere between his first year where he broke out in 2019 and his previous years with the Rangers. Somewhere between there. So I think the slow start to the season screwed him. I think he hurt his stock by that. And I think the flat cap's going to hurt him. So I can see him getting, I would say, somewhere between 7.5 to 8 million. And I don't know if the Rangers go higher than that.
How many years?
I mean, he's 28 now. They could sign him to an 8-year deal, and he'll probably be fine for the vast majority of it. 6, maybe 7 years. Especially with the talent that he'll have around him for that time span. I would say you could look at an 8-year deal worth, $64 million. An 8-year, $64 million deal, and I think that it would be fair for both sides. But again, flat cap it's gonna cause a lot of problems for not only the team but for the player and the agent itself.
Okay, let's get Anthony in because he's starting to fall asleep up there.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go beer because I consider like a huge deal like an Artemi Panarin contract or a John Tavares contract as a huge deal. So for that reason, I'm gonna go beer. His stats are a little skewed because he had those 2 games against Philly where he had like 12 points between the 2 games.
Yeah.
So it helps.
24 points between those 2 games, guys.
No, 12.
That would mean he had 12 points.
Oh my God, my math is off.
You're talking about Anthony falling asleep. Oh my God.
Oh my God. This is
Yeah.
also why I have to add up my golf numbers twice.
Oh,
So yeah.
Okay,
those
so
numbers
12 points, Anthony.
Yeah. So those games inflate his stats a little bit. There's no question he's a good player. But no, I don't think he's getting a huge deal. I think he'll get 6, the minimum, maybe 8. But I'm gonna fall. I'd say he'll probably get a 7-year deal, maybe worth 8, 7.5, 8 per. I don't think he's getting 9. Good player. I think the Rangers are going to keep him in the fold. I think he'll be part of the long term there, unless for whatever reason Buffalo wanted him in a Eichel deal. But I think that defeats the purpose of the Rangers. I think you need to add.
Let's say Anthony's being hypothetical.
Oh, I thought you said that you heard that they wanted.
No.
Oh, my bad.
So I think that would defeat the purpose. You want to add Eichel to Zibabanejad, so he's going to be around for the long term. So yeah, but I wouldn't consider that deal a huge deal. So that's why I'm going to go Beer.
I'm going to go Beer as well. The one thing I'm going to say about it is there's a chance maybe a big money short-term deal. But also I think he likes it here. I think he wants to be here. We were mentioning in our other segment about Chris Kreider having a no-trade clause, Jacob Trouba having a no-trade clause, and would they possibly waive him at some point for a desirable location? If you're a player, what's a more desirable location than the New York Rangers right now? Maybe the Colorado Avalanche. That's about it. You can live in New York City, which hopefully will rebound soon, but that's a different story. Zibabanejad wants to be here and sees a future in the organization. I think he would actually take less money. You don't need to give him a Panarin deal, but if you give him like 8 years, $8 million, 8.5, I think that's a win. Which, by the way, is sort of what Steven Stamkos did for the Tampa Bay Lightning and enabled them to keep some of their players. He could have left, gone to Toronto for $10 million plus.
Yeah, that no state tax really helps those Florida teams get those guys, though.
And Texas.
Yeah,
and it hinders Montreal and Toronto and New York as well. So
there should be some sort of balance for that, though. I really think in the next CBA there should be something to counteract that and make it an even playing field for all the teams involved. So
I gotta agree with that. So yeah, I said Beer on that. Did you like that video? Of course you did. So why not check out some more of our content? You can check the playlist right here or right here.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.